Good morning. Welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning, Wednesday, the 3rd of June. We are on 26,866. Can we get to 27,000 today before Celtic announced the new manager? And why is it taking so long for Celtic to pick a new manager? We have known can we get to 20? We have known since January that we needed a new manager. Yesterday, this is just putting it into perspective, how quick big teams, we need to stop calling Celtic a big team. We need to let the board know that they're not world class. They need a reality check. Yesterday, it broke the news that Marco Silva was going to leave Fulham. You're thinking, here's a job, he's not a bad coach. A few hours later, it wasn't even an hour later, it had broke that Marco Silva had agreed a 3-year deal with an option of a 4th with Benfica. Good managers walk out of one job and walk into another. Celtic have had 6 months to put the feelers out. Ask agents, ask managers if they would like to manage Celtic. Forward planning. Yeah, mate, it was 37 degrees yesterday when I was at Malaga Airport last night. Had that hot air feel. That was, you walked out and got out of the car and it was just like, it was like you were in an oven. But anyway, getting back to big clubs. Big clubs make big decisions and they make the decisions quick. When you look at some of the fact that Liverpool have agreed a verbal agreement with someone to become their new head coach. Timescales are very narrow for big world-class clubs. Unfortunately, whether you like me saying it or not, Celtic are not world-class and we are not a big club. We may be a big club as in size of the stadium, fan base. Other than that, we are mediocre, we are amateurish, and at best, at Boardroom level, I would say a joke. Today will be the day, I reckon, that Celtic will announce Robbie Keane as manager. That alone will split the fans. That will split the fans like never before. This took 6 months to drop a shortlist of Robbie Keane and Martin O'Neill. It's unbelievable, isn't it? All that time. DD is too busy playing golf and not giving a toss. It's not DD's job. It's not Dermot Desmond's job to drop the managerial list. That's what Michael Nicholson's there for. That's what the boardroom are there. This is why you have people in these positions at the top of the club to draw up potential candidates to take over as the manager. Maybe it's the fact that, Dermot Desmond give them the free rein as he's done before. And these people that run the club and every time that they're allowed to make a decision on their own, they muck it up. You can go back to Tony Mowbray. He believes that the board, the people that are running the club on a day-to-day business, they've got their man. They want Tony Mowbray. Okay, let's go with them. Disaster. Give Neil Lennon the job. Right, okay, I'll go with that one. Neil Lennon decides, it's time for him to leave. He's took the club as far as he can. Familiar. Does it sound familiar? I've took the club as far as I can. Martin O'Neill said this back in 2005. I've taken the club as far as I can. Not as a manager, not as a person, but with the restraints of the board. It's always the restraints of the board that a manager feels that he can no longer take the club any further forward. The restraints are the same people that are going to make the decision to bring in the next manager. we can go through. People could say, well, who picked Ronnie Dyler? I suggest it was the board that picked Ronnie Dyler. I think that Dermot Desmond goes, I'll give you your position. You've picked Ronnie Dyler. Okay, seems okay. Nice man. Right, let's see if he can do the job. He did the job, but what happened? There was a big chunk of Celtic Park upstairs that was closed off, and they put a big green banner over the seats. And Dermot Desmond noticed that the pound was dropping. The income fell away. So he goes and picks the next manager. He brings in Brendan Rodgers. It's only him that could negotiate to bring in the ex-Liverpool manager. These board members cannot negotiate with top level managers. These people that are running the club on a day-to-day basis cannot negotiate top level deals with top level people. They've shown their incompetence over the years. We then get to the situation where we are today. I reckon that they were given the chance again after Brendan left and Dermot Desmond goes, I'll solve the issue. I'll ask Martin back. Yous pick the manager. They picked Wilfred Nancy. We're starting to see a repeatable negligence in their ability to run the business as best they can. Dermot Desmond has obviously got a soft spot for Martin O'Neill. He's obviously got a soft spot for Robbie Keane. Was the whole Robbie Keane thing spoken about by Dermot Desmond months ago? Don't know. We'll never get to find out because Celtic are that secretive. We wouldn't mind. I don't think any of us would mind if Celtic came out and said, right, we're going to get this top manager, and they go for the highest possible candidate. But is it the fact that these top managers are on more than 4 or 5 million a year, and that Celtic just can't compete to try and bring in these higher paid managers? Maybe Brendan Rodgers isn't an elite manager. Maybe 3 million a year isn't elite manager status, as we're led to believe at Celtic. And are Celtic about to spend big in the transfer window this summer? Well, that is the big question. Celtic have been linked with numerous players. First of all, I want to talk about the Lewis Palmer situation. Did we use Lewis Palmer the right way at Celtic? Lewis Palmer this season has scored 12 goals and he has had 10 assists. He's played in the right wing position, the left wing position, and an attacking midfield player. He's also played as a striker at some points. He's wanted by his club in Poland. Celtic have given until next Monday, when they said if you haven't taken up the clause to buy Martin O'Neill drove a Honda Civic to a double with a handbrake on. He did that. I'm kind of glad it's taken its time. If Martin O'Neill, let's hope he's getting the conditions he'll be asking for, and maybe educating the board at the same time. What makes people think? People are getting very romanticised about Martin O'Neill and being able to change the mind of this board. Martin O'Neill left back in 2005 because the same people that are running the club right now, he could not get them to take the club to the next level. 25 years later, the same people are running the club. There is no difference. If Martin O'Neill does get the manager's job, it will be to keep the fans quiet. And that is it. It's to keep the fans off the backboard. We need to stop this nostalgic look at Celtic. I would love Martin O'Neill to be manager, but I also understand that for the betterment of the club, I think that we need to bring in someone that's actually going to... We need a rebuild. We don't need a stick and plaster. If we bring in Martin O'Neill for 2 years, that's a stick and plaster. Doesn't give you enough time to do a lot because of and to the detriment of the club. The fans will demand a treble. The fans will demand that we go for a treble. If we start the season and we get Martin O'Neill as manager and it's like, right, we're going for the treble and that's it, we're allowing the board to be in their comfort zone. And I don't think that's healthy for the club going forward. Having had the success that we've had over the last 25 years, the board will sit and give themselves a pat on the back and say, well, we were in charge then. We were in charge of one of the most dominant periods of the club's history. Us. We done this. We created the environment. We will go down in history as the people to have stewarded the club through this magnificent time. That's how they think. And it's unbelievable. Anyway, simply don't trust any manager who doesn't have experience in Scotland. Well, that's bonkers. Brendan Rodgers didn't have experience in Scotland. Why wouldn't we want to go for a top manager that has won things in Europe, that has taken teams? People want Bodo Glimt manager, so you wouldn't take the Bodo Glimt manager? I just think it's crazy that we're narrowing our thought process down. That's aligning yourself with Dermot Desmond and the board, really. Crazy, but it is what it is. It's all about opinions. Did Martin leave the first time to look after his wife, who was unwell at the time? That was going to be the season before. That was what was put out there. He was going to leave the season before because his wife was unwell, but he didn't get the backing. Do you ask Martin O'Neill? It was well publicised at the time. He wanted to spend more after Seville, and he didn't get it. He was going to leave in 2024 because his wife was ill, but he stayed on. And Gordon Strachan was lined up that year to take over from Martin O'Neill, and then Gordon Strachan didn't take over until a year later. It's crazy. Ange didn't have experience in Scotland. No, Ange didn't have experience. I thought it was a bit of a crazy comment. I'm glad other people are picking up on it. But anyway, it is all about opinions. Celtic are looking at a Moroccan. Fantastic country, Morocco. Football-wise, they are they're a nation to look out for at the World Cup. They have a player that has dual citizenship, Moroccan and a German, who plays at Schalke. Now, the issue is that Schalke only bought him for €4 million last December. But Celtic have been tracking the player, and they're now expected to put a bid in, but they will need to put a bid in of around about 10 million. Why do we always leave it too late? I don't know, why didn't we try and get the player when he was valued at 4 million? It's crazy if it does come to fruition and we end up paying way over the odds. It could be another scenario. Well, I'm not going to say it. He's an attacking midfielder, he's a defensive midfielder, and he's a central midfielder, playing on those three positions that Callum McGregor likes to play. Is it a player that will come in? What position will he play? And this is the thing. We have Oxlade-Chamberlain. It looks as if he's towing a caravan when he runs. No pace whatsoever. We've got Callum McGregor, who doesn't have the pace, but he's better further forward. Are the backroom staff at Celtic realising that Callum may not have the legs, or he's not utilised as well as the defensive midfield player? And would he be better still that further bit forward for the last 2 years of his contract? It's an interesting one. He's got a value market of €9 million. And does Soufani El Fauzi. There we go. It is what it is, isn't it? Martin O'Neill would be solid as Celtic manager, but 6 months, and we haven't come up. There hasn't been a new name linked with the club that will make you think, wow, the club are really reaching for the stars. 6 months, and we're looking at Martin. And no disrespect to Martin O'Neill, I don't think there was any other manager that could come in and do what Martin O'Neill did. But a 74-year-old, should he be allowed to retire? Should he be given a 2-year contract? How much can he achieve in 2 years? What's the ambitions of the club? I think we'll find out the ambitions of the club this week. We all know the ambitions of the club. It's to be dominant in Scottish football, blah, de blah, de blah, and Europe's a bonus. Gauge your money, shut up. Move on. Anyway, my thoughts and prayers go out to Kenny Dalglish. It was well reported yesterday, after I came offline, that Kenny Dalglish is 75-year-old. He wanted to keep it public, but it has went. He wanted to keep it private, sorry, but it's went public that he is suffering from cancer. He's been diagnosed with cancer and he is going through treatment for that. So hopefully he pulls through that quite fine. 75-year-old, he should manage it fine. But anyway, thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Kenny Dalglish. In other transfer news this morning, Celtic have a player that won us the league. Yes. Will Callum Osmond be remembered the same way as Harold Bratback? Will that goal from Callum Osmond, and it was pretty, it was, you see the similarities between the Harold Bratback goal, running from the halfway line, and then the Callum Osmond goal, running for the box, the Hearts box, and full length of the pitch. Two iconic goals in their own right. One stopped 10 in a row. Absolutely fantastic for us Celtic fans at the time. Amazing. Harold Bratback's name was written in Celtic stars forever. Callum Osmond, such a young player, came through the system at Fulham. Celtic managed to steal him away from Fulham, but West Ham have been looking and watching Callum Osmond's rise to fame at Celtic. He's already attracting interest, it says, and West Ham have been keeping tabs on the 20-year-old ahead of the summer transfer window. Well, let's just cut the nonsense. Celtic will not sell Callum Osmond in this window. That's my say on it. Celtic will not sell Callum Osmond. Even if an offer of 20 to 30 million comes in, I don't think it will, because no club's going to come in and pay that for Callum Osmond. But you never know. And the fact that West Ham got relegated, would they really want to go through the relegation thing? There's a couple of sites saying that, they may put in an offer. He's been in London before. Relegation, they're looking for younger players to rebuild. Callum Osmond fits that. Would Callum Osmond want to go? No. I think that Callum Osmond will want a crack at the Champions League. And I think Callum Osmond will turn around and go, I've been in London. I don't know. It's the West Ham, Fulham, much and such alike, aren't they? Nah, give it a miss. The young guy wants to play in the Champions League. He wants to rise for the stars, and he'll do that at Celtic. And I think that he could go to a far bigger club in the future, once he does a few goal scores a few goals for Celtic. Shows how ambitious Celtic board are when we can all narrow down the managerial position. It's old pals Irishmen, established managers worth their salt, won't touch us. Better goal against the Zombies at Hampden was a cracker. Yes, it was that. When Bratback was at Celtic, we never played to his strengths. Harold Bratback, you've got to remember, played beside Henrik Larsson. Henrik Larsson was a prolific goal scorer. I think that we forget that, we look at the other strikers that played second fiddle to Henrik Larsson, Chris Sutton's, John Hartson's, and you Craig Bellamy. You hold these players to esteem because they were top level players. I think that we're doing Harold Bratback a little bit of injustice. It's maybe he wasn't given the chance, but he was kept out by an amazing player. David Lowe has said a few times what needs to be invested and how we move forward to put Celtic where they should be. And never mind the Willie Hockey, still not right about that. Kev, all these ambitious plans. At least, I mean, David Lowe, has he come out and given a time scale? So no, everyone knows my thoughts on it. We should be arrested against Robbie Keane after we have several Israel players play for us just over the past few years. Should we be against Robbie Keane, having had Israel players play for us? Schalke just got prognoted. Can't be linked with better players. You can fill all the people. Yeah, that old one. Celtic going to fill the people, the fans all the time. Osmond can be Harold Lloyd. Need glasses and contact. Brackwood was a good signing at the time. Had a good reputation. Rosenborg and a good scoring rate. He did that. Is Balak Wisher probably one of Brendan Rodgers' top 100 duds between him and Big Marvin Compa? Are we keeping Nacho? I hope we do. Well, Nacho's one player that's had to go. I think Martin O'Neill's told him to go and improve his physicality. Don't take the summer off, mate. Go and get your fitness up to speed. You forget that Martin O'Neill said about Kelechi Iheanacho. Kelechi Iheanacho was, as much as Martin O'Neill will big the man up and he'll talk him up as a player, Martin O'Neill was also disappointed with Kelechi Iheanacho. He said in an interview that, he thought he should be at the top of his game. Fitness-wise, he should be at the pinnacle of his fitness for his age. And he's nowhere near it. We've seen when Callum Osmond was going to score that goal to win us the league against Hearts, Kelechi Iheanacho couldn't keep up with him. And he's like, just go, tell him to go. It's crazy. And there won't be any more players from Israel. It's an apartheid state starting orders. Can we just talk about like the next? Oh, this is just going to keep on going, isn't it? Mate, Danny boy, that must be you because there's no adverts switched on the channel. I can assure you that. So YouTube must know that you are automated ads off. So YouTube must know that you love adverts, and that's the way that they tend to do it. Anyway, West Ham, will they put in an offer? Will Celtic sell in Lewis Palmer 4 million for him in the summer? I will be back later on this afternoon because we are getting close. We are sitting at 26,888. Hey, we're getting close to that 27,000. You'll know when we're starting to get close because I'll jump back on live later on this afternoon. Big day. Will Celtic make the announcement this evening? I think there's going to be a lot of Celtic fans sitting about waiting to see if Celtic make it this evening. Or will Celtic do what Celtic do? Drag it out until Friday and then make an announcement Friday afternoon and then shut the door and not want to speak to anybody. It's a very Celtic thing, isn't it? Anyway, that's me. That's it. I know, Paul. I know it's going to... I know it's going to go on. You could run faster than Kelechi. There's quite a few on the channel that could probably run faster than Kelechi. Anyway, I will be back about this afternoon. Keep an eye on the channel. Keep an eye on the news. Let's see if Celtic are going to spend big 10 million on one player. Ooh, it could be good for starters. Have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.